What's up? What's up? What's up? Hold on. Let me shout out everybody in the chat. What's up, Miss Rose Key, Lady T, Blenda, Timothy Flowers, Aho Howard, I think. I'm sorry if I messed it up. ATB, Tiffany. What's up, everybody? How are y'all? I figured today would be a great day to change some energy because a lot of us who've been keeping up with all the scandals surrounding R. Kelly are pretty up on what's going on right about now. And though things have made mainstream news, a lot of people would like to keep the general people distracted with bullshit and miss the whole point and all the information that I have documented myself that would solidify the things that R. Kelly said himself. And again, a lot of us are very aware of the issues that R. Kelly recently came out speaking of, mainly in how individuals provided information by getting into his private information and sharing it with this federal witness. Now, of course, a lot of us didn't know the backstory and how money was taken and how this person would have never known that money was in a specific location had it not been from an individual sharing information. And a lot of us witnessed how so many people wanted to put their spin on what caused this initial fallout with Jane Doe number 5, aka Azriel Clary. A lot of people are watching this fallout between Tim Savage and Angelo Clary, and we bypassing the fact that even before Surviving R. Kelly, you had Tim Savage who went viral with his narrative about his daughter being a hostage, right? My thing is, as we watched this new spin on Surviving R. Kelly and how they would like us to believe that they still believe their daughter is being held hostage, and now including individuals we've seen on these YouTube streets, I find it funny how all these mainstream media platforms that are gravitating toward this exclusive interview. How did y'all miss all this in the paperwork? Y'all were reporting on this story, and y'all wonder why platforms like mine exist and why I documented the things that I was seeing being dispersed across these platforms across the board. The funny thing is, it exposed, in my opinion, the corruption of this whole case and why we still stand here. Nonetheless, it's a lot of people out here that want individuals to believe that people are just blindly still supporting R. Kelly and or support the actions that this man is being accused of and bypass, as these people have pointed out, this man made sure to implicate procedures to ensure these girls were of age. Clearly, individuals were responsible for making sure this was so. We hear the government coming out telling us that they're building this case on the premise of all these people enterprising this man and trafficking girls. The whole time I'm watching this whole RICO case play out, I see a lot of people skip past number one, why does New York have jurisdiction over Chicago allegations? That's number one. Number two, why are people blindly having these interviews with an individual who clearly came out here admitting to the specific things he did to a Jane Doe, then later tried to build this facade to justify his actions? Now, to this day, there's people still going to be defending the actions he made. And for some strange reason, they think attacking everybody to see his bullshit is going to change the facts that we've seen documented on these platforms. Now, I dropped the link if anybody wanted to come up and show their support. As far as I see a lot of narratives that were put out here purposely to make specific R. Kelly supporters look bad. However, the interesting thing is, as an outsider looking in, getting all this same information that some of these bigger platforms like Tasha K ran with, is very ironic to now hear her try to backtrack and make it seem as though she vetted all the information that she was getting from individuals like Tim Savage and Angelo Clary, that she was getting from a lot of these anonymous profiles that these people were setting up. So, to wrap up where I'm going with that, a lot of people feel like just because there wasn't any direct communication on phone lines with individuals, and or they know those individuals by name, that changes the fact that they were in communication. Doesn't take a genius. No. When it comes to this audio, why is it people are more focused as to who stole this and stupid shit like that, when clearly, if you look at some of these titles, such as R. Kelly is blaming Lifetime for his life troubles, well, clearly this predates Lifetime. So technically, that don't even make no sense. But in order to appeal to the people on the lower vibrational level, they could keep putting out this clickbait shit. They know people never took the time to read these indictments, these motions. They can get on here and talk about, well, why did this man fire his whole defense and bypass? Just like they sit here and want to build this facade of how these crazy people were just going at these so-called witnesses. Number one, no one would know these so-called witnesses had they not went on a damn mission to parade them all around and then pick petty ass beefs with these deranged motherfucking people. That's number one. And number two, not only were the people that they were going at it with doing the most with these so-called bad act witnesses, they were doing the most with this man's defense. So, if I could sit over here and try to intimidate these witnesses, if I can infiltrate the defense, and the general public is only looking at the fact that this man was convicted, they said this in court, it's asinine to keep trying to change people's perception when we know the facts of the case. For example, in the new Surviving R. Kelly series, they want to now come back around and put a spotlight on Barry Hankerson, which, if you look at my documentation, he was the biggest red flag if they were going to keep pushing this Aaliyah narrative, considering this man, as the uncle, continued to be this man's manager after Aaliyah's parents fired him after the so-called situation, and he kept managing R. Kelly like 5 years after the fact. But now they want to talk about how he's exploiting her image, which another red flag is, if you look at all the artists this man has dealt with in the past, if you dug into his background, as I suggested, you would see that a lot of the monster characteristics these people try to shift towards R. Kelly seem more as a classification to Barry Hankerson. So it's real cute that in the last final chapter, according to them, they want to put a spotlight on Barry Hankerson and Aaliyah's mom. So it's crazy you want to put a spotlight on Miss Diane on Surviving R. Kelly, but during the trial, why didn't the prosecutor subpoena her? Oh, I know, because simple-minded people don't realize prosecutors are not going to subpoena any witnesses that's not going to help them shape the narrative they're putting on in court. Now, if there's not a proper defense that is checkmating what's going on, what we say, what we think out here is irrelevant. Another thing, I see all these people want to do all this conversation about the case. Clearly, they can't even distinguish the New York trial from the Chicago trial. So, what do we look like going back and forth with these type of people? We gonna move forward and stand our ground as far as the information that we know to be true. This platform has never been to do anything more than to be a source for people to do their own research. The fact that we watched all these weird ass people pop up gravitating toward this high profile case, doing all this weird shit online, it should be no surprise why, if you listen to all the things I've documented as I've spoke, my message has been clear. I hold the government equally accountable for whatever janky ass investigation they call themselves conducting. Clearly, if Tasha K can come out here and say she was working with these entities, then she could turn around and say, well, now I'm not working with them because now I'm beefing with all these people and I want to protect my sources. Then you got a person like Jim Derogatis who always want to come out here like he the voice for the black women, exploiting their stories for profit. He come out here talking about all this documentation he got, such as this so-called NDA with Aaliyah or annulment records, which nobody has seen, but he wouldn't testify. He want to hide behind this protecting the sources. So we back again with, do people really want justice, or do they still just want content? Is this about justice or content? Let's figure this out. Even now with this audio with R. Kelly, wasn't that my biggest issue when we watched the first Surviving R. Kelly and we watched this defense team say they're going to sue Lifetime, and we watched this same defense team not even show up to some of his appearances, causing him default judgments. But people don't get why individuals stand behind R. Kelly where clearly the facts align with what he's saying. What's up, Miss Lady T? Miss Lady T. Uh-oh. But yeah, let's play another song as I just think about the hypocrisy of all the stuff that we see these people now trying to back away from, that they said was a smoking gun as to how they know this man is so guilty. Meanwhile, every time we come out here with questions, the best thing they could do is, he was on this tape, he married Aaliyah, you support pedophilia. Fuck out of here.
I think I'm going to love it here.
So,
what's up, Primadonna?
In reviewing my content, you will notice that once I realized, as you can see, a lot of people want to put this focus on the harassment of these bad act witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started to shift the focus on what they're charging this man with, the Mann Act, the RICO. So, with that being said, if you are going to try to convince the public that this man is guilty of trafficking women, that all of these managers, bus drivers, assistants, all these associates were enablers, how are you then gonna come back after all this shit blow up in your face and then try to implicate people from YouTube in your shenanigans? People forget as they watch the continued fallout between Tim Savage and Angelo Clary as to what they're laying out for you, how they were contacted by this IG page with a story. They reacted to those stories. They began to do things like hack into Joycelyn's accounts and shit like that. And to this day, they still wondering why their daughter won't come back home. Instead of facing the fact that maybe they were misinformed and their approach that has spiraled out of control, all the people they came in communication with to build these bad acts to shape this enterprise clearly came out of spite. And in reviewing the transcripts, it don't take a genius to see why people still are adamant with the things that have been laid out in this man's appeal, as things like music is continued to be leaked. People are continuing to scam in this man's name. Information that would have did a whole lot more good at the beginning of all of this instead of at the end is a little suspect. But the fact that people will pick the most remedial points out of this spectacle we see playing out on social media is beyond me. When people can miss how individuals can come together, criminally conspire against a man, use specific outdated laws to target him, and miss the hypocrisy that I talk about, that apparently a lot of people on these YouTube streets inserted themselves in as they were being gaslit by goofy ass people.
Hurry into your local Ashley store or visit ashley.com to ring in the new year with new styles for every room of your home.
For generations, Bridgestone has made tires. Today, we're still tirelessly at work.
Okay. Let's go ahead and give you my perception of why certain individuals keep calling a person involved in this an informant. Okay, let's think about the fact that he used specific individuals that we all know don't know R. Kelly to inform federal agents about specific crimes that they dumbass came out here openly and actively putting on display, right? So people are mad about the fact that obviously with all the work that he was putting in, talking to all these people, the best he could do for his own case to help him with his situation is to give information about these janky ass people that I just made reference of, right? So with that being said, there's more validation to why I side eye all these people who inserted themselves in this man case. Now they like to just come on here and put random bloggers and people that ain't got shit to do with shit in the midst of the bullshit they involved themselves with, such as McGee. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for people like him coming out here on these platforms with their rhetoric, maybe some of these deranged individuals wouldn't have partaken in some of the stupid ass shit they did. So I hold them equally accountable for some of this intimidation they want to keep bitching about. How can somebody be an informant that don't know R. Kelly? If we can sit online and debunk all of these stories that Fatnet Jim Derogatis has written about over and over, if we can listen to the man call out people like him, tell us himself what happened, collect the information they're putting out here, I don't understand the confusion as to why people don't get the corruption in this case, and why what I got from the messages, without focusing on who got the exclusive, who did this and who did that, was simple. This man is asking why there was no justice when it comes to him. Oh, because you got all these people out here fueling this animosity towards him that people think is justified for people to violate his rights. Get his prison records, share it with federal witnesses, just do the most. But like I said in my documentation, all the things they were doing, in my opinion, would later come back to help this man. The problem is you had individuals on these platforms acting like they was trying to be the YouTube defense, acting like they providing the defense with all this information, acting like they gave a fuck about Robert Sylvester Kelly, when the truth of the matter is all these people just trying to get they come up, period, point blank. Like this guy, Tim Savage. And he's my biggest problem on tonight's live. And the reason should be clearly, if y'all can't see that they're now trying to flip this narrative and throw the career criminal under the bus because he clearly has the background to match this image they want to paint of him, because he hid behind individuals and let them do a lot of his dirty work, it's easy for them to team up with the person now going at him, when clearly they ain't no fucking better. Prior to Joycelyn meeting Robert Kelly, Tim sitting here posting this interview that everybody finds so comical. But let's think about what was said. Torre asked R. Kelly, "Do you like teenage girls?" He said, "When you say teenage, what do you mean?" In the full clip, he then goes in to say, "Do you mean 18, 19? Because I have girlfriends that age." Isn't 18, 19 still teenage? Let's go even further. Demetrius Smith, the same person who the government wanted to heavily rely on, who, in my opinion, they should revoke his immunity and charge him for the crimes he committed instead of masking his crimes under a bullshit RICO in R. Kelly's case. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, if you go back to the same book that they wanted to pull this Alita story out of, he clearly said that he was managing the same girl that wants to get credit for being the first girl, Tiffany Hawkins, the same girl that R. Kelly countersued because she was claiming she had a baby by him, which was a lie. The same girl who showed me that this was a pattern of extortion going on in this man's career. And the same man who clearly indicated that Robert Kelly told him himself that he was not going to be dealing with the girls that he, Demetrius Smith, managed, such as Tiffany Hawkins, because he couldn't deal with any minors. You also got R. Kelly coming out publicly holding or having his entourage hold this 18 sign, clearly indicating long as you 18, anything goes. He then doubles down, as another individual, I think Big Vi pointed out, he came back with a 21 and up just because of the outcry that was coming around his name. So how can I take serious when these people go all out and get PR people? They go all out and get these fake ass civil rights activists like Gerald Griggs, who will sit over here and smile in Charlemagne the God face, but have the audacity to come over here with the Tim Savage crew, build this whole narrative of how this man targets underage girls, knowing that according to them, same people, he makes sure these girls are of age. So how can we keep listening quietly as people attack R. Kelly supporters just for having the opinion we don't believe the bullshit? Then try to flip the narrative as though we attacking the federal witnesses they put on display when clearly this ain't how the fuck a case supposed to go. Go look at YSL, goddamn RICO. Do you see them putting the damn witnesses on display? No, they charged them motherfuckers, right? They copped their plea, right? And we see how this shit going. Meanwhile, in R. Kelly case, we got all these stories of enablers, all these people that were facilitating these crimes that didn't get charged for those crimes in this RICO. Still ain't heard no damn money trail in this RICO. And can't nobody outline the racketeering outside of these bad act witnesses giving a story of sexual abuse they can't even prove. Make this shit make sense. Then these people want to compare the so-called video footage that was discussed in the Chicago trial with the New York trial, because they don't know there was no child pornography in the New York trial. There was video depictions of sexual activity with adult women. So again, that gave me clue to all these people trying to use sexploitation and blackmail to get people to do what they want them to do. The same tactics people publicly displayed on these platforms then wanted to give you some stupid ass justification instead of people putting two and two together to realize clearly people are corrupting this man's case intentionally. And no, Kelly and Joy are not married. That's another narrative that the savages wanted to put out there. First, they came out here lying, talking about Joycelyn would be testifying. Come to find out, Joycelyn submitted a character witness, I guess you could say, statement in which that should have been talked about on these mainstream media platforms, considering her damn mama and daddy is the one who kick-started all of this surviving R. Kelly bullshit, all this cult bullshit, talking about their daughter was in this hostage situation because they feel like they could just call the police and the police just walk in people's house all willy-nilly every time they hear somebody tell them something about their grown-ass daughter. And that's another point. If you look at these accusers that came out here and wanted to be public figures, go look up their ages. Most of them, they've tried to hide and conceal their ages. And in my opinion, that was the biggest red flag. So clearly, if you are a blogger and you take it upon yourself to look up somebody's private information, you should have common sense to know not to publicize that information. So if I wanted to, for example, collect, let's say I wanted to know when somebody was born, why would I need to pull their whole background, which would show their address, which would show other private information, just to solidify the fact that they lying about their age? Okay. So then when I come out here and the first person that I give as an example is Lisa Van Allen, because I knew for a fact she was 18 when she met R. Kelly. And she was one of the catalysts to this 17 narrative That was important for me to point out simply because it went over people's heads. Now, with that being said, the fact that the government used Lisa Van Allen as a Jane Doe up until, in my opinion, people like me, people started to point out the fact that Lisa Van Allen wasn't no minor. They removed her as a Jane Doe. Then she became an individual, part of a whole conspiracy that, again, how can you sit here and say this man was acquitted of obstruction of justice in Chicago, which was the highlight of their whole case, the whole tape from the '08 trial? Now, if he didn't obstruct justice then how can you decipher for when the so-called witnesses are telling the truth? If so-called witnesses believe or misidentify themselves within imagery that they're shown and they admit to certain behaviors, does that still really corroborate information? Or is that still circumstantial in your opinion? For example, did you all know that one of the girls, Tracy, believed she was depicted in the image she was shown? So how could it be RL, the girl that so many people have written about, made so many videos about? How can she then be the girl if she say she didn't have sexual contact with this man until this age? She was supposed to be this specific age in the video. If you go back to the '08 trial, they went saying she was 12 or 13, so they can't even get the age bracket correct. So again, to get a bad act witness to corroborate this so-called imagery that you have, does that really solidify your case? Or does that leave more room and leeway for an appeal? Then you got the fact that if you are going to credit RL, who was another person that you can discover in the transcripts, were in communication with R. Kelly up until surviving R. Kelly. You got Tasha K coming out here talking about she was in communication with him and she had the records to prove it. And a lot of people wanted to associate, well, Azriel found out about this, and that, and not consider this new audio that R. Kelly is telling you in so many words. Clearly, she ran off with the money. While she was out here talking about on the run with Azriel, she was on the run with R. Kelly money. So people can sit out here and be like, oh, I didn't flip her, or I didn't have anything to do with these people testifying. The fucking lie. You want to know why I know that so confidently? Because if that were the case, why these people didn't go to the authorities with their reports? Why, when Kim Fox got her Chewbacca looking ass on the podium, why didn't the people come forward and call the hotline that she set up? Why did these people have to continue to get on these platforms with these interviews, fueling these narratives, continuously involving themselves with beefs, reaching out to this man's defense team, just doing the most? What other case do you see proceeding like this? I'll wait. See, I just can't have remedial conversations with certain people because it make me mad when all the information they could focus in on, if they say their pursuit is justice, and if they want to sit here and say this man did this, then 4 years after the fact, the only people you see getting locked up is the people that were criminally conspiring, getting their dumb ass caught up in some bullshit. Okay, where Where is this enterprise? Where is this cult? Where are these minors? Damn it. You're not going to keep talking about R. Kelly supporters support pedophilia. Show me a fucking child then, and I might shut the fuck up. Show me a child from 2018 up. And I'm going to tell you something like this. I find it very odd. Y'all got all this communication of people like Haley Calhoun, Azriel, some of these Jane Does. I find it very fucking funny. You got communications with them implicating themselves, engaging with minors. They ain't got no charge. But it might look better for them to play the victim, right? Oh, yeah, okay. They must think we slow out here. You're not going to come out here and tell me, as a grown woman, you are abusing children. You're not going to hide behind a whole lot of crazy-ass women hollering in their camera phones and try to convince me that a man is a predator because y'all goofy-ass motherfuckers like to stalk people you claim not to like. Make this shit make sense. Then you got Jim Derogatis. He can't figure out which story he want to tell. He comes out, he get this anonymous tape in the mail, and somehow he just knew it was Sparkle niece. And somehow he get with her to confirm it's her niece. And somehow there's an attorney involved who wanted to come out and put on record he'd never been in possession of this tape. That somehow they had to finesse out this damn story because it didn't fit the narrative, right? Then they want to give Javante Strong Face the platform to come out here and act like she's saying some shit that don't even make no sense. You want to know why it don't make no sense? How you gonna see R. Kelly on the back of the tour bus with Aaliyah? What tour? What tour? I'll wait. What fucking tour was R. Kelly and Aaliyah on in which Strong Face could have seen? Better yet, this new chick they bring out, Ebony Doyle. You mean to tell me in 2005, which was years after this man's trial, years. No, it was like in the middle, but it was after he was charged. But the point is, years after the allegations that he was with a minor, and nobody pops up with this tape with him and Aaliyah. It was conveniently destroyed. We supposed to believe this man is the child porno Santa Claus just walking around here with a bag of sex tapes. But somehow he leaves it conveniently for certain people to look for a movie and pop it in and want to watch it, right? She pops it in 2005. Now, they didn't want to come up with no video with Aaliyah and R. Kelly, which would have fit right into this whole narrative of this sexual relationship that people want to fantasize between them, right? They didn't want to run with that. They want to bring Sparkle niece and say it's her on the tape. Why? Why y'all think? Maybe because, as I pointed out, they didn't have the age bracket correct. So maybe Sparkle niece just fit in the age category. Just my opinion. Because just thinking back on what I remember, the first time the scandal first went public, from my recollection, they were just talking about a R. Kelly sex tape. It wasn't no R. Kelly on a tape with a minor. I think it elevated to that once they couldn't get no money. But the point remains, if y'all want to sit here and listen to these people talk about the Chicago trial and the fact that this man was acquitted of obstruction, which means clearly he didn't rob no witnesses. He didn't do shit. The only thing that the government now wants to hold him responsible for is their allegation that he recorded himself with a minor based on the fact that they have this bad act witness identifying herself on the clips she were shown, right? I'm pretty sure anybody with basic common sense can see that in the beginning there was so much corruption that a lot of this so-called evidence they claim to have should have been suppressed. But even little minor details like that is how I just began to side-eye all these people in the background that want to mediate the discussions about R. Kelly on both sides. You got the people that want to say they're part of his camp. You got the people that's against him. And what's funny to me is even the motherfucking people against him want that exclusive. You spent all that time talking that shit about him, but you still want that exclusive. You want him to come and explain himself to you. But nobody hears that a lot of his support is clearly saying, ain't nobody here to talk about if we think R. Kelly is perfect. Ain't nobody here to put R. Kelly on no pedestal. As a matter of fact, some of us have grown past R. Kelly, the persona, and we have been strong in our conviction that Robert Sylvester Kelly has been framed. And all of these people who participated in this criminal conspiracy to keep R. Kelly down should be held accountable. At the same hand, all these people you want to sit here and keep playing around talking about were enablers, the Barry Hankerson, all these people, you ain't gonna convince me shit until you got some charges on them. But the fact that you build this whole RICO and you miss them, I ain't the smartest, but come on now. It don't take a genius to recognize when the feds come with a RICO, they getting everybody. They ain't leaking no exclusives to no Tasha K. Tasha K can't provide them with shit. The feds got what the fuck? Do you know the feds can pull all this shit off of these smart ass phones, off of these tablets, all these devices we used. Meanwhile, people think coming out here on these platforms trying to get ahead of lies is going to change the facts. Just because there's bigger platforms that gravitate toward the scandal, they ain't finna read the paperwork. They ain't finna break down the information and really give an unbiased opinion. They just want that exclusive. Ain't that a bitch? So hold on, let me drop the link again if anybody want to come up, cuz it's just so much that I could say personally, but as I always say, it's the hypocrisy for me. The fact that all these people come out here and the low vibrational people don't understand that in the entertainment, these people gonna keep trying to keep their facades going, knowing they lying like a motherfucker. What does that mean if you grounded in your beliefs? Can anybody get on this platform, hit record, and sway your opinion if you stand in truth? Anybody get on this? Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Okay,
Yeah. I'm
I
doing
think your
good.
microphone is muted.
Oh, okay. I don't think so. I can hear you.
I'm doing your microphone.
Yeah, I think this is a money grab.
Can y'all
This
hear
is a
her
money.
in the chat?
Can you hear me? You can hear me? I'm sorry. Hello? Can you hear me?
Y'all heard her in the chat? Oh,
Can you
okay.
hear me?
Okay, hold on.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a money grab. This is all propaganda. Yeah, I never really watched the documentary because I knew there's no
Yeah,
evidence. This is all propaganda. Yeah, I never really watched the documentary because I knew there's no. I agree with everything you said, Prima Donna. I agree. You're the only one that bringing up research. You bringing up facts. A lot of these so-called victims are contradicting themselves. A lot of these so-called victims are contradicting themselves.
right. And that's my biggest thing when I started to notice that these people are trying to again build this narrative about people victim shaming. That was the first thing, remember?
Mm-hmm.
When we first stood up, it was y'all are victim shaming. Well, no, let me take the focus off the victims because this shit bigger than the bad act witnesses, and I keep
Exactly.
stressing that. That's
Mm-hmm.
all they are.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, let's take the focus off of them. And when I see that people are maliciously trying to keep the focus on them, I
Yep.
mean, it don't take a genius to recognize that's not the way R. Kelly moved. So
Like,
it don't take all these weird ass people leaking emails and audio for me to have common sense to say this man would not approve of that, especially in the midst of a RICO investigation.
exactly. And
Mhm.
a RICO charge is a multi-person charge. One person should be charged with a RICO. That's a multiple person charge.
Right. So that was the biggest flag that we all with common sense know that one person can't be the RICO. So when we know that they're using all these confidential informants behind the scenes and not charging them, and
Mhm.
then you got people like a Cheryl Mack who's written these manuscripts for these people to follow, and then get on the stand and basically talk about her role in booking shit
Mhm.
but skip the fraud that she was implicated in, considering she had debit cards, she had shit in her name. All
Yeah.
this information that I say would be included in a RICO, the government conveniently skipped by. So I asked why.
Facts, Prima Donna.
If I wanted to get R. Kelly and say he the head of the RICO, and this lady over here got all this stuff in his name, and I want the assets, why wouldn't I charge her too so I can get them assets from her too?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm really getting disgusted of how they keep bringing up Aaliyah's name. Why is
Right.
Aaliyah's name keep being brought up into this? Her mother has simply said that please do not associate my daughter in this. They keep using her name, and she's not here to speak for her. Aaliyah been dead for almost 22 years. It'd be 22
Mm,
years this year. They keep
yeah, in
using her name.
August.
And I think that's that cloud of mystery that gives the slow people credit because they feel like if I can keep talking shit and she never address it or she never act the way I can provoke her to act, then I can keep lying. But at the end of the day, like I've said, if this woman who's the mother hasn't launched a criminal complaint, who
Exactly.
the fuck is we?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Hey,
What
Prima
we gonna
Donna.
do?
But
And
I still think it.
also,
I think about. I give Dame Dash the side eye. I've been giving Jay Z the side eye. I hate to say it, if y'all Jay Z fans, I still kind of give Jay Z the side eye. Yeah, I noticed that he's one of the celebrities that has not when everybody else has said something about R. Kelly, Jay Z's one of them people is like quiet.
Right.
I've been giving Jay-Z the side eye for the longest time. It's something about him. He knows something.
But here go another hypocrisy moment.
Yep.
So if people want to come at R. Kelly with all this energy,
Mhm.
why didn't you have that same energy when some of these R. Kelly accusers started to implicate affairs with Jay-Z? Like, make it make
Thank
sense.
you.
Then you
Thank
got
you.
Tasha K coming out exposing her, and then you want to expose these. Like, y'all,
Well,
this
why
shit.
is Tasha K even being credible? What didn't Cardi B win her lawsuit? That's what I'm like.
Right.
How is she being credible? Because she owe Cardi B money?
Absolutely. What's up, Sir Miguel? How you doing?
Good evening, Prima Donna. Good evening, ladies. How y'all doing?
We're great.
Doing good.
I just want to piggyback off something you had said earlier today, Prima. I think a lot of people are missing this whole chain of custody, which I've been speaking on since last year concerning the so-called tape.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really look at that very carefully because if the tape was in so-called the state's hand, they should still have the original tape.
Right.
So it goes from a tape to a so-called CD. Now, if you go on certain college campuses, they still have old VHS tapes. So I'm quite sure down in a little dungeon somewhere, they have a VHS tape with that, to put the tape in. Now, if CNN so-called watched this tape, but it's supposed to be child pornography, they would be included in that as well.
Right.
But they didn't do all of that. And I keep explaining to people, if it's on the internet and you're watching it or you have your hands in it, then that makes you just as guilty as the person who's so-called supposed to be filming child pornography. But the
Exactly.
problem is what they did was when they made it federal because 17 is the age of consent in Chicago, in the state of Illinois, but to videotape you have to be 18. Big difference.
Right.
Now, the so-called young lady that's supposed to be on the tape, that says she's on the tape, based on the still photos I seen, that ain't her.
Right.
Nope.
Call me crazy if you want to,
Nope.
but then at the end of the day, all of a sudden they say there was no sound. So where did the sound come from?
Right.
And wasn't
And then
her father still working for R. Kelly after all that? Wasn't he
Right.
the
yes,
drummer?
ma'am. But
So yeah.
see,
And
that's
Sparkle,
that's
don't get me started on Sparkle. Ooh-wee.
that's the
Lord, Emmer.
caveat. If you pay attention to what the mother said in court and pay attention to what RL said in court, there were two different stories. The
Yep.
mother specifically said R. Kelly didn't admit to anything.
Exactly.
So in my mind, I'm saying to myself, okay, well, if that's the case, the government knew they didn't have a case from jump. And I
Right.
always tell people this: when you can change the language
Mm-hmm.
and supersede it, that's where you get your case from. Because if you
Yep.
go back from the beginning of New York, the original judge said, y'all got to bring me something.
Exactly.
Y'all don't have nothing.
Yeah,
Yep.
Jim Deere Goddess, whatever his name
You
is,
see what
who
I'm
wrote
saying?
that. Oh Lord, he's ugly. Anyway,
And that just take you back to the probable cause. Like, what probable cause could they have shown in the beginning? Now that we have the facts that clearly people misled the grand jury in getting their indictment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, Prima Donna, that's one thing I've learned about this whole grand jury stuff. And it's amazing to me that anybody can be brought up on charges or indicted through the grand jury because it's one-sided. At the end of the day, that's no different than a regular John Doe walking down the street
Right.
and somebody can have a flashback and say, "Oh, that might be the man that raped me 5 years ago."
Right.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, where did the information come from? How did they get there?
Yeah.
As you said, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting when his appeal comes, how Ever Bonjean write her briefs, but it's a lot of stuff that's there that I don't think people really paying attention to, that when he's home, it's going to be a lot of people with shit on their face. That's all I'm
Exactly.
saying.
I
Oh,
think
this
I
was another point. This was another point before I forget. When he said this stuff happened in 2019 in the recording, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so people want to talk about his defense. this was something I asked them. Why weren't they attacking some of these individuals on the even on these YouTube streets, defaming them? Like it didn't make no
Correct.
sense to me why they weren't more hands on with some of the stuff that were addressed by Bone Jean way after the fact, and she ain't even got all the information yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're afraid that they don't want him to get out of prison. I think he's gonna get out. I think that's why they have this little part three. They trying to deflect. This is a deflection. I
Yep.
just it's like y'all just trying to deflect. I see right through this bullshit. They did it. They doing it. They did it to Michael Jackson. You ain't heard from them people
And they doing it
since.
to him.
Right.
Pre, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I want to share some insight. This is my first time doing this, so I'm not sure if I'm on, but
How you
I've been
doing,
watching.
Money Caps?
How you doing, Free? I'm so grateful just to be on your platform. But I've been following you a while, and once when I first started watching your platform, I told you I would like to just give my insight on the things that we've been seeing with this case. I am a pastor, so I want to say this because even with me watching you, I like the content you bring forth because I know I have three daughters, and my oldest daughter, I have a daughter that is 17. I also have a daughter that is 13, but I also have sons, and we all discuss this. We've been discussing this since this been out, and some of the things that they have told me was, Dad, why, if these things are true, that how could this happen? You my dad, and mom is my mother. How could this happen with them being that age and the parents have no consent of what's going on? So we understand that it's bigger than what they put out. But some of the things that I've been watching you with the receipts that you've been putting out since you've been with your platform is, when they talk about the sex tape, I never ever saw the sex tape, but I do remember when it was floating around. And if I could be honest, when it was out on the internet, I never understood how could it be a juvenile or underage person that they would have, that it would be on the internet, and so many people who I know that was adults all over that were saying that they seen these tapes or seen that tape, but nothing wasn't done. And then also in 2008, from after the trial, how could all those artists, you could put the receipts out, that was still going, if we go back, that was still doing music with him, was doing interacting with him, and all those things, but no one knew anything or saying anything. Nobody wasn't worried about the Aaliyah, even when they used that tape about that he's supposed to peed on the girl or whatnot, regardless whether it was true or not, all that was covered up to the point to where the girl or her mother didn't say anything. But once Surviving Lives came out, I never seen none of them episodes, by the way. But what I do know from the people who say it was bits and pieces, and we know they was lies free. So from the receipts that you put out, I've been following your platform. I love it because everything that you do, one thing I can say is you do not compromise with the world way of doing things. You stay in your lane, but everything that you bring, I love it because you bring facts and receipts.
I
Hmm.
appreciate that. And to be honest, it's kind of like I kind of knew that it would play out this way. So I'd rather show y'all than just come out here and just keep talking and tell y'all, because I can't convince and make nobody believe nothing. But at some point, you're going to have to look at the receipts and what played out in your face, what this man described to you, okay? And the fact that the whole thing, what you just said, even the fact that a whole federal investigation. Okay, you remember Kim Whitley?
I remember. I remember.
Hmm.
I don't know a lot about it, but I remember.
All right, now she came out here and she talked about one of the biggest red flags that nobody talks about. The fact that the people that were trying to extort R. Kelly, they were trying to extort other individuals. So if we got tapes out here talking about, I got this video of you on it, and his team don't go to the FBI, but one of these other girls go to the FBI gets involved. Nobody is charged except for this janky ass, this janky pastor and affiliates.
Keep it
But
real.
exactly, his name is Derek Mosley, so you can look him up.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, all these people, even the man with the janky stand that was selling the tapes, he wasn't charged. Why? But you want to bring all these allegations into this Chicago trial and wrap it up like obstruction of justice.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is you brought receipts with all that. Even with me following a lot of this, I don't know. One person I like that how you hit it with. I think that the white guy, the one who didn't want to come to trial, but always have something to say. He crooked. Yeah, him. The thing that I see with him is, he did a lot of talking, but when it was time to come forth with whatever, because what happened was he knew he was going to get caught up in lies. And also something that I like with you on your platform, like I said, I don't want to go back and forth with it because that ain't what I do. But even with the lady, I don't know too much about her, but I see she's a big blogger, Tasha K. But the thing is, what a lot of people do, my 17-year-old daughter say, Dad, a lot of those people do this for monetary gain. Meaning, some of the things we have to, like you say, we have to do our fact checks. We have to go and look at things. We can't just go off things that say, because people put anything out and then we'll go run with that narrative. And then people try to go back and forth. And like I say, that's what I like about you. I respect you. I know, I don't get into certain things, but one thing I can say, Pre, is you stand firm with what you say. And if they come at you, you're going to get, they better be ready for it. So I really like that. And I appreciate it.
Damn, Skippy. I couldn't agree more.
I appreciate that.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're a real one. And if you follow the timeline, and if I can't go back, I can't remember when I started following you. But if you go back and check your timeline and you dot all the I's and cross all the T's, everything you have said has not only has measured up, but it has tested everything. And shit is like a domino. Boom, 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 boom. And the funny part about it is now you got these other two fools now want to go back and forth with each other. They're telling on themselves, and it's blowing everything up, and it's adding up to everything you say if everybody's really paying attention.
Right. Everything. So that's why they think I'm gonna go back and forth with them. They want me to come out and clear up what they saying. Bitch, I wasn't there. You keep telling me I wasn't there. Why y'all keep trying to include me? I just want to tell y'all where the documents and where the paperwork lead me.
And see, this something too also I like about you, Pre. The thing is, at least from what I see with your content, you tell them to go and do their homework. But even in the midst of this, like I said, I have sons and daughters. Now, this is for the world. What most people don't understand is, we can't just take sides. So, you never say that if certain things was true. See, when I first started following you, that's one thing I do like about you. And I just love your content. But one thing I love about you is you don't take sides. You for justice. So you never say it's wrong. Now, if this particular person or people, whoever in general, have done wrong, you're not on your platform saying that you is a part of that. But what you are doing, some people used to come at you and I watch and read the comments, and they're against you. That was at the beginning, because most people feel that if a woman say that a man then raped them or done something wrong. This morning in ministry, I talked about that. I have daughters, so I don't want to just go suing my daughter say something, because I have sons as well. So we have to look at the evidence, the facts. We have to do our like y'all do on the on this blog and stuff. You get your receipts, because if you don't, what'll happen is people run with that narrative. So you never say that R. Kelly was innocent. I'm a pastor. The Bible tells us that no man is perfect. One person was perfect, was Jesus. So nobody can get here and say, "Oh, I never did this and didn't do that." You might have didn't do it that way. We have people who don't realize everybody do certain things that they in their bedroom. I was just picking with my wife the other day, because we have a relationship like that, and I was telling her, I say, you call me daddy, And she say, well, you my daddy. In a sense, we love one another. But then I threw this at her because see, I watch you, so she don't, get into this YouTube stuff. So she say, I say, but let R. Kelly would have said that they call him daddy. It's an issue. But see, it's the way how we perceive things. So we have to get out of our way of doing things and look at the facts. And that's what I like about you. You come with justice. Like I say, I know you get a little heated. You don't know, but I say, well, I pray for free because, I know you're a good person. I never met you. If I would meet, I feel your platform is one of the biggest out there. And I know I'm praying that God it even gets bigger. And then when you first started, when I was watching you, you didn't have what at the end with your patriots and because I also have my own janitorial service. So I like to see entrepreneurs, and I know one day I'm gonna connect with you and be able to get some of that. But I just like to say, because I'm not gonna be on here long, but I didn't know how to do this. So I thank God to be on your platform. I thank God for you, Free. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop doing what you're doing, but never let no one change who you are. Because personally, from me getting to know you, even when I see that you had your baby, you never stop doing what you've been doing. You're all about justice. You for people rights, and us as men, we do need it. It's not that you're against the women, but us as men, we get falsely accused, we get abused. Things happen to us as well, so we need a voice for us as well.
Absolutely. So let's put this into perspective. I hold women more accountable for the fact that, just my opinion, I believe women can play both the male role and the women for the simple fact we can put those emotions to the side. We can be vindictive, but at the same time, why do we have to sacrifice our own kind in order for us to elevate? When at the end of the
Man,
day, if we're angry about the circumstances we're in, put that energy into something you enjoy. Like, that's my biggest message. You don't have to use nobody to come up. You don't have to bite your tongue if you feel like somebody's doing wrong and then come out here and act like you want justice for some old ass shit. No, that's crazy. And we as women need to stop sitting over here. Like, on one hand, you villainize R. Kelly as this RICO enterprise leader, but you praise these drug dealers out here slanging dope in your communities, killing all these people, putting all these orphan children into the system that
come
nobody
on.
gives a shit about. They don't want that real conversation. Oh, it ain't even about R. Kelly. It's about the fact that people want to deflect using R. Kelly and won't even address the issues in their own community.
That's what you not that's preaching alone. And I'm gonna just add to it something just touched me on when you were saying that. Also, I know with some of your content, I see even after R. Kelly look free how a lot of things happen with so many other people. Now people starting to understand, but some of them same people didn't want to hear it at first. Before that, like I said, I don't know a lot of stuff. I don't get into a lot of things. But I do know that it's a lot of RICO stuff been going on. It's a lot of people who, like they did with Chris Brown, a lot of other people, and you don't know if it's true, but because the narrative been put out, that's what a lot of people are ready to run with. So yeah, we thank you for the opportunity to not just be a voice for the men, but I know you're a voice for the women because you never get on your platform saying that you're doing it one sided. You putting out the facts and the receipts, and then it's up to us to go do our homework. It's there.
Right. That's what's up. But I ain't want to turn here too long. I usually don't even go live, but I think a lot of us should use our voices to talk positively about the information that we have uncovered instead of letting these people play with our intelligence and our emotions. Like, it's easy to get sidetracked into them running with all the stuff these people put on the platforms when we can just come back with the facts. If you want to
Man,
sit here and believe Rashona Landfair, for example, why don't you have that same energy for a Drea Kelly? Why don't you have that same energy for a Sparkle? Why don't you see that a person like me is only telling you when Sparkle then comes out and contradicts the testimony that was given, that gives me ammunition to fight for an appeal, right? But I ain't
that should have been
believing
it.
I ain't the defense. I'm just telling you common sense, right?
Common sense.
And I
That
can do
makes sense.
every last one of these Jane Does just like that. So that tells me I didn't go to law school. I didn't hire the defense. But common sense tell me an ineffective counsel was evident. And just because R. Kelly proceeded with his conflict of interest hearing, I believe he still at that point wasn't aware of the people clearly sabotaging his case. Okay?
Hmm.
You say
Exactly.
that though, Free, and I want to add this one more thing to it. Something that I remember hearing you say also is, with the bloggers, the ones that who were saying that they was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you saying you farm, and even with the people that you the name from his wife to supposed to have been the manager and all these people. See, what I've done when I started watching y'all bloggers. What I did was I did my research as well. I say, well, pre say this or this person say that, but then when I went to go look, I say this don't add up. One and one ain't coming to two; it's coming to a whole nother number. So I knew right then something wasn't right. But like you've been putting out, it's bigger than R. Kelly. It's bigger than what they put before our face. But what they did was they was able to catch us once they started putting the narrative out, because that was the narrative. That what me and my daughter talked about. Once they was able to use that tape on that landfill girl or whatnot, we know something wasn't right with that, because everything was good then, but now all of a sudden not. And ain't and see I don't know a lot, Pre, but I heard that what they call it when they pay the people to have to come to court, what the victims or whatnot, they was able to find something to not get in trouble for lies. I never heard of nothing like that.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If we focus on pushing these people to revoke these immunity deals, and let's see how confident they will be when it comes to this appeal. Let's see if they'll get quiet on that note, or if they're going to keep coming out here still. In my opinion, the reason why they do that is because when the real information come out here, then you sitting here questioning, do I believe it? What all that? And you can't even catch the message that come with it. So if they can keep you in that state of mind, you can't even listen to what's being said. Take the information, go do your research, then you're going to be forever beefing in your head with weirdos.
And truth
Exactly.
be told, you don't need immunity to tell the truth. If it's the
Absolutely.
truth, then you don't need nothing extra to
That's
make
like
you get
in
over
in
that hump.
in the Tory Lanez. If Kelsey didn't do the shooting, why would she need immunity? Why would she leave
Exactly.
out her altercation in the situation? Because again,
Exactly.
the prosecutors built their narrative, they executed that narrative. Do it make it true? No.
You better pay attention.
But yeah, that was the sum of what I wanted to get out. I think I dropped all the little points that I caught over the week that people don't want to focus on.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Let's
think you
go
did
back
an
to the
excellent
basics.
job.
All of this started with Tim Savage getting this information from this baby girl page. Then he want to switch and say who he think it is, when this person then started coming to these YouTube bloggers, even myself, before I started giving her the side eye, you know? So like I said with Tasha K, how you getting the same information I'm getting, and you expect me to believe that you believe the shit you putting out? Now you want to come out and say
Exactly.
you vetted your information. Well, hold on. If they fed you one-sided information, how did you vet your information? Which one is it?
And my thing too, Primadonna, when she said that, oh, well, R. Kelly might be innocent. I'll put out the receipts when such and such and such and such. What happened to all of that?
She
And then
said
on
it.
top of that, I had an idea. She probably was setting up her little meeting with Don then. But the fact that after she get her little interview with Don, now she want to come out here talking about he the one leaking the music and shit. See, that what I'm saying? You know
Hmm.
this shit. You come out here for your clickbait audience, and then you want to play with people's lives. They need to hold her accountable for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And what I do like, I'm gonna leave it with this. I like that, a lot of people don't understand because I hear some people say, well, why would he just, I think I heard Tasha say that, why would he just go ahead and let it go since they done got him? When you know you innocent, you're going to fight to the end. That was something that my mama always said, you're going to fight to the end. And the difference is in this situation, it's not about that they then convicted him in areas, in some judicial uh, dealing with the RICO stuff. Now what happened is, and this God playing out. This the part I wanted to let you know that it's God playing out is because of him. See, New York did that first. I was wondering why Chicago wouldn't have did it. They had all those tapes supposedly. They had all the evidence supposedly. Kim Foster was lying from the get go. But see what they did was they knew it probably was he was gonna probably beat that, especially if he would have had the lawyers that he has now. But what happened? They went and took it to New York because it was always said that nobody could lose the Fed. Them judges, we haven't heard nothing from them people with the janky evidence that we know we have seen. So we know it's a appeal coming. But the thing is, look how God works. They went with that trial in Chicago, and look how all the evidence came out. So they didn't get him for the stuff dealing with what they wanted, which was the RICO with them other guys. I don't know all their names. So therefore, now for Bungie, they let them know that was a lie from the get-go, because pretty much that's what they got him for in New York.
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely. So that was why they not connecting. They not getting how Bongine is connecting both of these cases because they
Mhm.
connected it, and
Exactly,
then
free.
they try to do it on the low, like what nobody gonna catch on. Like that what pissed me off. Like y'all stop
Exactly,
playing
free.
with me. Stop playing with
Yeah,
me.
Mhm.
yeah.
And I'll say,
None of them take. Oh, you going? I'm sorry.
I'll say this much, and I said this before. God put Bonjean at the right place at the right time for the right reason for the right purpose.
Yep.
She know exactly what she doing. This ain't her first rodeo. She know exactly what she doing. And I think at the end of the day, nobody was expecting her to join this case. Now that
Right.
she's joined this case, she's doing what a lawyer is supposed to do. She's keeping
Right.
Exactly.
quiet. She's doing her thing and just letting it ride. Because if you look at it, like the pastor just said, look at God. Stuff is coming out. People talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So some more stuff gonna come out eventually.
Oh, it will.
And
The truth will
and
be
once
prevailed.
mhm.
That's a
I'm gonna
fact.
leave you with this pre if I can before I go. Once again, I thank you for being on your platform. This was a pleasure for me because I've been watching you. I never had the opportunity to do nothing like this, but I'm waiting on you to do your next video on uh and I know you done did so many of them, but on when they was talking about all the tapes, and it's supposed to have been even some young boys, which we know all that stuff was live, and the only tape you had to get somebody mind right that I remember watching one of your videos, they was going back and forth with you. I said, oh, they must don't know what they playing with. But the thing was, it's that same tape from 2008. They just tried to chop it up, which we already knew they was gonna do it. So if y'all really had all those tapes, and then the one who got convicted, the Nike naughty guy, that should have been automatic. If people know the system, R. Kelly's supposed to have been free for that, at least appeal on that. So I want you to do a video on where all those tapes and all the stuff that they supposedly had, but
Yeah.
never came forth.
Them 100 devices.
Mhm.
I got you. You got anything you want to close with, Sir Miguel?
I just want to say again, Primadonna, appreciate you having me on your platform. I just came in to chime in real quick. But again, thank you for all you do. Thank you for staying 10 toes deep in who you are. And whoever your parents are, they raised you well. So I appreciate them too, because you'll be about your business and you don't take no shit. So keep up the great work, and just continue being you as always. And I appreciate you 1,000%.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate seeing all of y'all strong voices on the newer platforms and all those that have been around continuously standing y'all ground as well.
Well, see, my thing is, I only speak when I have to, and I only go where I feel certain things are being spoken in terms of facts and validity. I don't get all into the bullshit because that's not me. A lot of times I'll be in the bushes just listening. When I have something to say, I'll speak. But other than that, you won't hear much from me until it's around like-minded people who speaking real shit and not no bullshit.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm rocking with the truth and not the nonsense. Y'all can keep all that other shit because at the end of the day, outside of YouTube, I do have a life, so I'm not that so caught up in shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the
Right.
day, I want right is right, wrong is wrong. But if there's injustice, now I have to look at it from this lens. There's a celebrity, there's the middle person, and then there's my children. I got a son that I'm raising. So at the end of the day, I gotta make sure that I'm watching shit because this shit is gonna trickle down to these kids eventually.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if we don't prepare ourselves and pay attention to what the fuck is going on, then we gonna get lost in the sauce. So at the end of the day, as a parent, I gotta stay on top of some of this shit.
Right. That's a
You know,
fact.
so and they changing laws like it ain't nothing. So if you look at it, all these fucking RICOs coming out of nowhere all of a sudden, okay, what that tell you? They want our black young men.
And this the main one that I'm preaching. A lot of people are just oblivious, and it's been around, the rape by coercion. Like
Hmm.
it's another one. It's basically talking about like if you wine and dine a chick or
Oh
your
yeah,
partner. Yeah.
yeah, that shit. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so a lot of these young men, that are awkward. Think about them who use drugs and
Hmm.
alcohol to set the mood. They can wake up
Hmm.
as another person that's being deemed a predator.
And I keep telling these young cats too, be careful talking about flying a young lady out. Even if you ain't did shit, you spending $2,000-3,000, she can easily go back to her state and say, "Oh, this happened to me," and then you fucked again. You know what I'm saying? So be careful.
Right.
So, but that's just my 2 cents. So, other than that, I'm not gonna hold you, beloved. You have a great night again. Like I say, I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to whether you be on Big Five, whoever, and just go from there. But anyway, have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your week, and may God bless you and keep you in the family.
Thank you. Same to you.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too. So, just to respond to this question, I'm gonna respond to this question the same way I started off blogging. Will this information help R. Kelly? Well, the problem that a lot of people weren't grasping is that I don't think that people understand that we can talk about the facts. We can talk about the case till we're blue in the face. My major point was what we saw on mainstream media and social media platforms, what went on in these secret meetings, these secret grand juries, these secret trials they had, clearly showed us why we believe there's a massive level of corruption in this case. With that being said, I wouldn't know what would help R. Kelly because, again, I'm not an attorney, not a prosecutor, not a judge, not any of those individuals, not a private investigator, nothing. I'm just a plain Jane, regular schmegular girl who saw some things that caught my attention that I found disturbing. Will it help? I hope so. I hope individuals start applying the information where need be. That's about the best I could do. All these people who wanted to insert themselves in this man case, that's their prerogative. They wasn't going to entice me to do so. They wasn't going to trigger me to be in the midst of their bullshit ass beefs because they want to try to get ahead of what they believe my opinion is, when clearly I don't have an issue with subscribers going to any platform. I clearly have a specific problem with people being disrespectful, and have no problem cutting off individuals who I feel have engaged in disrespect. That don't mean that I should have to come on my platform to justify what I do, how I act, who I associate with, when the facts remain, just like with this audio that we've been talking about. People put too much focus on the wrong parts, miss the information, miss the points that I clearly decided to document in the manner that I did, in order for you to take the reference points that I gave you to validate the research I gave you. Real simple. It wasn't to sit over here and go back and forth with nobody, because at the end of the day, the truth stands alone, right? So with that said, I'm going to get on up out of here. Again, let's give a happy birthday to R. Kelly and continue to walk in faith. Have a good night.